My life was perfect. I just got promoted and was headed to Amsterdam tomorrow. Then, in a flash, all those plans went awry with a zombie apocalypse. Now I'm stuck fighting for survival with a group of strangers and my family, led by my impossibly hot, secretive billionaire boss, Wilde. Why does he keep giving me those intense looks? I don't know, but I need to survive long enough to find out. This is my story. The sky is flawless. Too flawless. Not a cloud in sight, just a wide expanse of blue that makes everything below feel exposed. I'm walking toward the Protos building when the eclipse begins. One moment, sunlight bathes the pavement. The next, it dims like someone's dialed down the day. The temperature drops, subtle but sharp, and a hush rolls over the street. Even the birds fall silent. I stop walking. I'm not superstitious, but something about this feels off. Off in a way that tightens the back of my neck and makes my heartbeat feel loud. I pull out my phone to record it, for Lila, my daughter, but I never hit record. I just stand there, watching the moon slide across the sun like a black coin stealing daylight. A gust comes from nowhere, sweeping up the street with force. Debris lifts into the air, coffee cups, napkins, an old flyer, spinning them like dead leaves. The shadows warp. I feel like I'm in a different world for a second. Then it's over. Light returns. Normal resumes. But the unease stays with me. I walk into the lobby of Protos, swipe my badge, and take the elevator up to 42. My reflection in the metal doors looks like I haven't slept, which, to be fair, I haven't. Single motherhood and tech startup hours don't mix. But I'm holding it together. Hair's in place, blazer sharp, heels clean. I'm here. That's the job. I've been at Protos 6 months. I started in communications, then got poached by the exec floor after 3 weeks. Now I'm assistant to Wilde, the founder and CEO, the youngest self-made billionaire on the West Coast, and the most unpredictable. In the elevator, I check my phone. 1:15 p.m. Evan should be back from kickboxing. I tap the call button. He picks up on the second ring. Schedule a meeting with Eric Neumann, he says without preamble. Try for 6. Mr. Neumann already messaged, I say, scrolling through the feed. He says, and I quote, "I'll not let a scallywag like you run me out of Silicon Valley. We should settle this like men. Drop the address." There's a pause. Then Evan laughs. "What the hell's a scallywag?" "It's a polite pirate insult," another voice chimes in. Freddie Zhao, co-founder and Evan's unofficial moral compass. "It means you're a good-for-nothing." "He wants to fight me?" Evan asks, clearly delighted. "I should send him my location." "I wouldn't," I say, stepping off the elevator and into the executive wing. "He's been training with Paulo Santiago." "The MMA guy?" Freddie whistles. "Yeah, don't. That man could knock out a rhino." "Exactly," I mutter, rounding the corner toward Evan's glass-walled office. "And we fly to Amsterdam tomorrow. You don't need a black eye." Sweaty gym bag at his feet, hair damp, wearing a hoodie that probably costs more than my monthly rent. He looks up at me and grins. "Good call, Callie." I don't smile back. "If you die in a parking lot brawl, I don't get a severance package." Freddie snorts. Evan waves me in, and just like that, the weirdness of the eclipse becomes background noise. But it lingers, behind my ribs, beneath my skin. "Exactly," I say, just as the elevator dings. The 2 women step out, and 3 others step in. We're leaving for Amsterdam in the morning. A battered face might send the wrong impression to the people we're meeting. The elevator finally reaches the top floor. As the doors slide open, I step into Evan's office. A small cake sits on the center of his desk, its candles unlit and waiting. I quickly light them. The door opens. Evan enters with Freddie Zhao at his side. "Happy birthday," I tell him, offering a small smile. He returns it. Brief, but genuine. "Your meeting with Mr. Jan Johannes is in 15 minutes, I remind him, cutting the cake and placing slices on 2 plates. I hand one to each of them. Evan takes his seat, his gaze still lingering on me a beat longer than necessary. I point to the far corner of the office, where an explosion of flowers and neatly wrapped boxes have gathered. And the birthday gifts have started pouring in, along with the congratulatory letters. Freddie whistles low. "Congratulations?" "Yes," I say, reading off a letter from the top of the pile. "He's being awarded the Green Leaf for his outstanding environmental awareness and conservation strategies." Their words, not mine. 60 million well spent, dude. Freddie nods in approval. That award is nearly impossible to snag. Evan glances at me with a smirk. "Anything else?" "I forwarded all the details to your email." I walk over and pull out a neatly printed itinerary. "Here's your schedule for the Amsterdam trip. Also, Lulu gave birth yesterday. She had a boy. I should probably send her something," he mutters, eyes flicking to his screen. "Definitely send her something." Freddie agrees immediately. "What should I send her?" "Diapers." "I gave one of my managers a lifetime supply," Freddie suggests with a chuckle. Evan sits up straighter. "Great idea. Do that, Callie. I hear diapers are insanely expensive." And formula, Freddie adds. Formula 2, Evan echoes, his tone teasing. I clear my throat, barely suppressing an eye roll. Those sound like terrible ideas. Lulu was Evan's executive assistant before me, and she's about to be promoted to run a branch. I imagine she'd prefer something more meaningful. Really? Evan raises an eyebrow. Yes, no one needs a lifetime supply of diapers. The kid will be potty trained before you even make a dent in them. And I won't even speak about the formula situation. Fine. You're a mom. Freddie swivels to look at me more closely. Wait, you're a mom? I'm a mom. I nod, straightening with a hint of pride. You're a mom, Evan repeats, the words laced with something softer now, more curious. His gaze lingers again. So what would you want? Money. It's the most thoughtful gift. It buys you time, help, peace of mind. And maybe a nap. Evan looks to Freddie, who just shrugs helplessly. How much is an appropriate gift of money? I nearly roll my eyes again. Must be nice to have never needed to think about that. I'll write a number on the check and you can sign it. Sound good? Sounds perfect, he says, and I notice the curve of his mouth lingers. I head to the adjoining boardroom and begin setting up for the meeting. What's her name? Evan asks me suddenly. It takes me a second to realize what he means. Layla Rose, I reply. He nods thoughtfully, then adds as he sits down, take the rest of the day off when the meeting's done. You won't see her for a while. The meeting ends up stretching over 3 hours. By the time I finally commute home, I'm beyond exhausted. When I step through the front door, all I feel is a deep, swelling gratitude for my sister Lara and her boyfriend Joe. I still don't know how Joe became such a permanent fixture in our little world, but he fits. He and Lara have been inseparable since high school. Now he helps out with the bills, mows the lawn, and takes the trash out like it's his own house. Mama! Layla beams, her big blue eyes lighting up. My heart clenches. In the 18 months since she was born, this will be the longest I've been away from her. I scoop her up from the couch where she's perched next to Joe and kiss her soft cheeks. If it isn't the secretary extraordinaire, Lara calls from the kitchen. Teresa's voice from accounting echoes in my mind, something about an upcoming promotion. Not so extraordinary, I mutter. I'm dog-tired. Lara plops down next to me. This is just your 3rd day as his main assistant. He's already running you into the ground? Joe asks. It's more like I'm doing the work of 2 people. I bury my nose in Lila's freshly washed hair. My sister and Joe really are lifesavers. I got you something for your trip, Lara announces, her smirk suspicious. You said you'll also touch Monaco and spend a few days on a yacht? Mm-hmm, I hum, eyeing her. She walks over and cups my face. The bikinis I got you are bound to snag you one of those billionaire men. I roll my eyes. Seriously? She shrugs. At the very least, you could get laid. You haven't seen any action since Jeremy. I groan and look to the ceiling. I just can't with you, I say, half laughing, half exasperated as I walk to the bedroom with Lila on my hip. At the foot of my bed are several unopened packages. Lara stands in the doorway, beaming. You'll love them, she says. This is a work trip, Lara. So there's no hunky-panky. Anky-panky, Layla chimes in, giggling, mortified. I turn to Lara, eyes wide. She raises her hands. That's all you, she says, backing away into the hallway. I wake at 5 a.m. and take a quick shower, dressing in my comfiest jeans and a fitted black tee. We'll be flying for what feels like an eternity, so looking polished but comfortable is key. My heart aches as I watch Layla sleeping beside me, curled up like a little angel. Her eyes flutter open, and she raises her arms. Good morning, my angel, I whisper, scooping her up and kissing her cheeks. She smiles up at me with those big, Jeremy blue eyes. In the kitchen, Lara is wide awake. Joe, not so much. Good morning, Lara sings. Good morning, I grumble. Morning people still mystify me. Did you sleep at all? I ask Joe, who's slouched at the table. There was a tournament last night, he mutters. Did you win? A look of betrayal crosses his face. My team let me down. Crappy internet connection. Never teaming up with New Yorkers again. How much was the prize? Lara asks, perking up. $7,500 each, he grumbles. We both whistle. New Yorkers? I ask. He nods. All my teammates were from there. Maybe something happened in New York, I say, flipping on the TV. Layla clings to my hip as I scroll. Nothing out of the ordinary. Some trolls were talking about zombies, Joe snorts. Lara and I snort laugh. People really need to go outside more, I say, glancing at the clock. Time has slipped away. Joe raises his hands in mock surrender. I'm just saying what was in the forums. On that note, I need to head out, I say. Layla grips me tighter. Part of me wants to quit, to stay here and never leave her. Daddy's coming to pick you up soon, my love. You always have fun with Daddy, don't you? She nods with her thumb in her mouth. Yes, she murmurs. I take her to the wall calendar. We're here now, I say, pointing. I'll be back here. I tap a date 6 days away. Only? She asks, eyes wide. Only, I reassure her. then kiss her forehead and pass her to Lara. You guys will be okay, right? I ask. We'll be fine. Order your taxi or you'll be late. I drag my suitcase up to the garage and key in the security code, the pad chirping softly as the gates to Evan's ludicrously extravagant house glide open. The place is every inch as ridiculous as I remember. Sleek, modern, and absurdly oversized. I can't help but grin at the thought of Joe seeing this. He'd probably lose his mind right on the spot. I pick a matte black 4x4 Mercedes from the lineup of luxury vehicles and toss my suitcase into the back. Then I head inside. The house, usually pristine and silent at this hour, is far from empty. At least 20 people are sprawled across the expansive living room, on the couches, the floor, even leaning against the kitchen counters. For 7 a.m., it's chaos. I spot Freddie in a corner and make my way over, eyes scanning for Evan. No sign of him. Good morning, I greet Freddie, with a polite nod and a small smile. He returns it with one of his own, a leggy blonde draped casually beside him on the couch. I recognize her instantly. Cynthia Rowe, head of the PR firm that represents Evan. She turns toward me, squints like she's trying to place me, then looks away, an IV drip lazily attached to her hand. Where's Evan? I ask Freddie. He nods toward the upstairs hallway, not offering a word. Not exactly in a chatty mood, I guess. A soft giggle draws my attention to the kitchen island. A tall, stunning brunette perched on the counter tosses her hair back and sing-songs, "Oh, we wore him out good last night. He won't be of much use to you this morning." Beside her, a redhead with the same model-perfect build smirks knowingly. By the pool, I spot a woman swaying slightly on her feet, her face pale and gaunt. She's dressed in scrubs, clearly one of the IV wellness crew. Her color isn't just off, it's wrong. I thought Evan was flying to Amsterdam this morning? I mutter aloud. Another woman, tugging her sleeve down to cover a healing needle mark, laughs. He ordered some morning entertainment. Guess we entertained him too much. "New Lulu," Freddie says, tipping his head toward me. I raise a brow. So that's what they're calling me now. Michelle Stevens, another of Evan's longtime friends, chuckles from across the room. Why would he hire a personal assistant who's his type? This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. Mish, Cynthia scolds, giving her a warning look. Then she turns to me, a tight smile on her lips. Ignore her. Evan's probably passed out somewhere. She's not wrong. I find him upstairs, face half buried in a pillow, one arm dangling off the bed. The room is bathed in soft light, spilling from the walk-in closet. A thin sheet is tangled around his lower half, just barely preserving his modesty. Or not at all. How many people can say they've seen their boss's bare ass? Well, I can. Evan, I say calmly. His eyes snap open immediately. He blinks like a puppy who got lost in a thunderstorm. Dirty blonde hair tousled beyond repair. That just fucked look somehow still charming on him. We have 3 hours to get to the airport, I inform him, heading to the closet without waiting for a response. His suitcase lies open on the floor, half packed, of course. I start folding and arranging the rest of his things while he groans softly into the mattress. Time passes faster than expected. An hour and a half later, just as I'm zipping up his bag, a piercing scream rings out from downstairs. Evan, now dressed in dark gray pants and a black t-shirt, barefoot but alert, appears at the doorway. He tilts his head, listening. "The fuck?" he mutters and strides out. I follow close behind. What we find when we reach the living room is beyond comprehension. Everyone is crowding near the massive windows that overlook the pool. All eyes are locked on a scene outside, on a woman hunched over another, a dark pool of blood spreading beneath them. At first, I think CPR, that she's trying to help. Then she looks up. Blood covers her mouth. Her jaw works and she leans in again, ripping a chunk from the cheek of the woman beneath her. "Someone call 911, a voice cries, panic rising like smoke. What the hell is happening? Evan asks, but to me, the sound is already starting to fade. My brain cuts out the noise, like it's protecting me from processing what I'm seeing. The pale woman from earlier, the one in scrubs, is the one eating her colleague. She stands up, face dripping red, still chewing. And then the dead woman beneath her, whose face has been half devoured, starts to move. She convulses, twitches, then slowly rises. My body goes cold. This can't be real. It has to be some elaborate prank. Some twisted setup by Evan or one of his rich, bored friends. But then the two women lunge, one going straight for the brunette, who was bragging earlier about wearing Evan out. There's a sickening crack as her head hits the marble floor. People scream. Guests try to pull the attackers off, only to be bitten in return. Flesh tears, blood spills. Chaos erupts. I stand frozen, mind reeling, and then Joe's voice echoes from memory. Some trolls were talking about zombies. One word rises through the noise, cutting through my disbelief like a knife. Zombies. Flight, or freeze. Those are the three options a human has when faced with danger. You only get to pick one, or so I always believed. I used to think I was a fighter. That certainty had only grown since I became a mother. Nothing hones your reflexes quite like watching your toddler lunge at a mud-covered garden ball, determined to eat it. The speed I had in that moment would have made Superman jealous. But now, surrounded by chaos, I'm not so sure. Because when all hell broke loose, when bloodied mouths and inhuman screams filled the air, I froze. Then I ran, and somehow, instinct guided me to Evan's garage. My hands moved on their own. I started the car and backed out, tires screeching as I peeled away. One thought on repeat: I have to get to my baby. If this nightmare is happening in New York and now here in California, then there's no time left. I have to protect my daughter. The human brain is a strange thing. Halfway home, sound returns. The city I passed through less than 2 hours ago is now a wreck. Abandoned cars, shattered glass, dark smoke curling into the sky. Screams echo between buildings. And then I hear voices. In the car. Up until now, I've been driving like a machine, numb and focused, but I almost slam into a Buick parked sideways on the street. And that breaks the spell. Where the fuck are we going? Stop the fucking car. She's nuts. Can she even hear us? We're gonna die if she doesn't slow down. I slam on the brakes, the SUV jerking to a stop just inches from the Buick. My hands tremble. Where's my phone? Evan's closet floor. Callie, a voice says beside me. I turn. Evan's in the passenger seat. What? I glance at the back seat. 5 people are crammed in, 2 practically sitting on each other. How did they all get in here? When? Where are we going? Evan asks. Home, I whisper. My voice is hoarse, cracked. I have to get to Lila. And Laura. And Joe. He nods slowly. Okay. Then drive. Because we've got company. He gestures out the window. 6 of them, dead but moving, are sprinting toward the car. Sprinting. That thought alone almost makes me laugh. It's so absurd. Screams erupt behind me as I throw the car into reverse, whipping the wheel to correct course and gun it forward. Pandemonium. That's the only word that fits what Sunny Grove has become. My sleepy, lower-middle-class suburb where nothing ever happens, at least not in the 20 years I've lived here, is now a war zone. Jeremy's brand-new SUV is parked diagonally in a driveway. Dead people stagger across lawns. Screams ring out from inside homes and echo off fences. Blood stains the sidewalks. Bile rises in my throat. I stop the car without warning and tear off my seatbelt, barely aware of the others shouting behind me. I fling myself out and sprint to the front door. It's locked. I pound on it with both fists. Joe, Laura, please, open the door. It swings open before I can finish the plea. Joe stands there, wide-eyed, his shirt stained with sweat, and something darker. The others from the car push in behind me, crowding through the doorway. Inside, Laura is clutching Lila, holding her close to her chest. Christine, Jeremy's mother, is standing beside them, pale and silent. Jeremy's holding a weed whacker. It's running, loud, buzzing. Lock the door, he barks. The spinning blade of the weed whacker hovers dangerously close to my chest as he blocks the way further inside. Beside him, Joe grips a kitchen knife like he actually knows how to use it. Is Lila okay? I ask, my voice cracking. Lila turns her head, eyes lighting up. Mama, she squeals, reaching out a chubby hand. I step toward her, but Jeremy raises the weed whacker between us. Are you bit? He demands. What? I blink, confused. Answer the question, Callie, Jeremy growls. Any of you, are you bitten? Tears blur my vision. Lila's still reaching for me, and Laura clutches her tighter, turning slightly away. Laura, please. Give me my baby. Just answer the question, Callie, she says softly. Her eyes are red. A tense silence fills the room, thick with distrust and terror. Behind me, someone snaps. Are you letting us in or not? Not if you're bitten, we won't, Joe says through clenched teeth. We're not letting an infected person stay with us. I shake my head quickly. I'm not bi, but I stop. Panic claws at my throat as I do a mental scan of my body. Everything feels numb. My heart is pounding too fast, my skin cold and hot all at once. I don't know. Everyone take off your clothes, Christine says suddenly, holding up a rolling pin like it's a weapon. I think the hell not, a voice snaps from behind me, Cynthia unmistakably. Just do it, Evan says, already pulling off his shirt. Christine stops him with a pointed finger. Hold it, pretty boy. One by one. Callie, you're up first. I don't argue. I strip down fast, left in just my underwear. My arms tremble as I hold them out and turn slowly under Christine's sharp eyes. She nods. You're good. I rush to throw my clothes back on. Lila practically leaps into my arms. Her little body is shaking. She doesn't understand what's happening, but she knows something's wrong. My heart shatters all over again. Evan's next. As he strips, Joe suddenly stares at him, eyes going wide. Holy fuck, you're Evan Wilde. Evan, halfway through removing his pants, nods. Yes, I am. and keeps going. Joe gawks. Wow. I'm a fan. Like, a big fan. Not of Witness Inc. though. That game was trash. I sent a strongly worded email. Never heard back. But man, zombie apocalypse and Evan Wilde half naked in my foyer? This day is one for the books. Silence follows his ramble. Zombies? Freddie says it out loud. The word I've only dared whisper in my mind since this began. You're good. Next, Christine says briskly. Cynthia starts removing her clothes. It's not zombies, Cynthia says, confident. Joe gestures wildly toward the window. Have you seen what's going on out there? I have, she answers calmly. And it's something else. It's probably zombies, Evan says quietly from the window. He's fully dressed now, except barefoot. His voice is soft but final. I finally register the 7 people I brought here. Evan, Cynthia, Michelle, Freddie, David Hicks, the IV therapist who was tending to Michelle earlier, and the brunette Evan spent the night with. You're up, sweetheart, Christine says to the brunette. She gives a nervous smile, then turns to Evan. Evan, baby, this is stupid. Donnie, just do it. We all did, he replies, only half paying attention. She hesitates, hand covering her wrist. Her eyes dart around the room, tears threatening to spill. You can't send me out there, she pleads. Please. Well, you can't stay either, Christine replies firmly. Call me selfish, but if there's even a chance she's infected, I don't want her near my child. An uneasy silence spreads. Callie, what do we do? Joe asks. I flinch slightly at my name. This house, it's mine and Laura's. My eyes flick to her. She looks hopeless. I can't take the risk, I say. I'm sorry. I have a child to protect. We don't know if she'll turn, Evan argues. I meet his eyes. And I can't take the chance. Guys, please. Donnie sobs now, voice cracking. I feel for her, I say quietly, but she can't stay in here. How about we quarantine her? Evan's voice cuts through the tension. Where? Lara asks. You think we've got a spare guest house? Evan's jaw tenses. He looks out the window, whose car is parked in the driveway. Mine, Jeremy answers, joining Evan at the window. His eyes go wide. Then maybe Danny can sit it out there, until we're sure she's not infected, Evan suggests. Jeremy scoffs. You want me to let your half-zombified girlfriend sit in my car? My brand new Bentley? Yes, Evan says simply. I almost laugh. That Bentley is Jeremy's baby, his first big purchase after making partner at his firm. Jeremy glares around the room, waiting for someone to side with him. Why not put her in your car? It's not even that far. Evan shrugs. The doors are open. It's chaos out there. It'll take longer. Well, tough luck. She's not getting into my car. Evan exhales through his nose. How much was it? Jeremy blinks. Excuse me? Sell me the car. How much? $1 million. Jeremy! I snap. What? He can afford it, Jeremy says, defensive. Do you even know how much this guy is worth, Callie? Done, Evan says, already pulling out his phone. Give me your banking info. Jeremy hesitates, then inputs it. A few moments later, Evan turns the phone around. Happy? I should have asked for more, Jeremy grumbles. I tighten my hold on Lila and grab the remote. No one's bothered to check the news. Until now. The screen flickers on. A live broadcast. The anchor, normally composed, is visibly shaken. A red banner flashes. Breaking news. Can I get some water? And something to eat? Evan asks softly, eyes still on the screen. A bag of chips, maybe? Lara nods and heads for the kitchen. Authorities are doing whatever they can to calm the situation. We advise people to stay calm, stay indoors, and avoid the aggressive assailants. We've lost contact with New York and several cities along the East Coast. Aggressive assailants? Someone scoffs. They're fucking dead. Zombies, that's what they are. Not you too. Cynthia sighs, typing furiously on her phone. They're not zombies. We watched a woman's neck get ripped open. She bled out, died. Then she stood up and attacked Amy. And don't act like you didn't hear the crunch when Amy hit the floor. Her neck was twisted completely the wrong way, and then she got up and chased us. Freddie's voice rises, raw and cracked with disbelief. Silence follows. Apart from the news anchor's steady drone, the only other sound is Evan softly comforting a still-crying Donnie. It's going to be okay, he murmurs. I'll be right outside that window, watching you. We'll have an expert joining us within the hour. For now, everyone is advised to stay calm and stay indoors. Similar incidents are being reported in London, Beijing, Budapest, and across the globe. The anchor's voice trembles slightly, though her expression remains fixed. Probably Botox. Donnie sniffles, her face pale, clutching a bottle of water and an unopened bag of chips. I'm scared. I know. But we're just taking precautions, Evan says gently. I won't let anything happen to you out there. It's a nice lie. Or maybe half of one. Mama, Lila says softly, tugging at my shirt. I'm right here, baby. I kiss her forehead and glance toward the front door, just as it clicks shut. The guilt slithers in immediately. I rise, needing to do something, and go searching for Lila's tablet. I find it on the kitchen counter beside Joe's noise-canceling headphones. This can't be real, someone mutters behind me. I have to call my parents. The anchor continues feeding calm reassurance, but it all feels hollow. 30 minutes pass. Then a disheveled man appears on screen. We're now joined by Dr. Edward Laurie. Doctor, can you tell us what's happening? The doctor runs a hand through his graying hair, his expression grim. This is called the notavirus. It's transmitted through bites. The closest comparison is rabies, on steroids. Right now, it has a 100% fatality rate. No cure. The current advice remains: stay away from aggressive individuals. Doctor, reports suggest these victims are rising. Are you saying these infected people are still alive? The doctor pauses. I don't hear his answer because Evan walks in. I return to my seat, placing Lila's headphones over her ears and queuing up her favorite cartoon. Her attention immediately shifts to the little blue elephant on the screen. This is ridiculous. My phone died. I need to call my girlfriend. Can I use your charger? David Hicks asks, his disgusted tone clearly directed at Joe. Joe points toward the wireless charger in the kitchen. Is Danny okay? I ask Evan cautiously. She's going to die, Lola whispers, arms wrapped tightly around herself. I recognize her now. The IV therapist from earlier. We don't know that, Evan says, trying to steady his voice. We've only seen the dead rise. Lola shakes her head. Emma, my coworker who turned, looked just like Donnie before it happened. Was Emma bitten? Christine asks. Lola frowns. I don't think so. She would have said something if someone had bitten her. The room goes quiet. So, it could be airborne? Michelle says, her voice shaking. Christine, the doctor, perks up. Was Emma coughing or sneezing? Lola shakes her head. No, probably not airborne then. Airborne viruses usually affect the respiratory tract first. This might be through body contact, Christine murmurs, mostly to herself. All eyes shift to Evan. He hugged Danny, held her. I must be infected too, Freddie says. She sat on my lap on the way here, and the rest of us who were crammed in the back seat touched her. Emma hooked up David's IV too. Cynthia looks up from her phone. David pales. Then why don't I have symptoms yet? Maybe it's spread through bodily fluids, Christine says. This is pointless. I have to get to my mom, Cynthia snaps and starts pacing. I need to see my daughter and my ex-wife, David adds. It's not safe out there, Evan says. Cynthia glares at him. Easy for you to say. You've got no one to worry about except the bimbo you pay for sex, sitting in the car. Evan flinches. I glance at Lila, relieved to see her still absorbed in the cartoon, headphones on. Classy, Michelle mutters. Oh, please, Cynthia scoffs. You were the one joking about how Evan's assistant was a lawsuit waiting to happen because he wants to. What the fuck? Evan snaps. Language. My kid is right there. Jeremy barks, moving toward Lila. Everyone calm down. David yells. Cynthia has a point. I've noticed our hosts, he gestures to me, Lara, Christine, Jeremy, haven't even tried to call anyone. Maybe that's because the people they care about are already here. Some of us still have family out there. Freddie, Michelle. And we're not gonna rot in this shoebox. Stop it. Evan moves toward him. Or what? Who even made you our leader, you cocky? Evan punches him. David hits the ground with a shocked grunt. Before Evan can throw another, Freddie and Joe rush in to hold him back. David rises slowly, murder in his eyes. Cynthia moves to help him, but he shoves her away. Then, without warning, he lunges. Joe and Jeremy have let go of Evan, and the two crash to the floor, fists flying. Lila looks up, startled, then begins to cry. Lara, I shout, and she whisks Layla to her bedroom. I'm almost grateful for the chaos. At least it drowns out the distant, inhuman screaming coming from our neighbor's house. Freddie and Joe try to break it up, but Evan has David in a chokehold. Evan, let him go. He's turning blue. I shout. His furious gray eyes snap to mine. Realization hits, and he releases David with a shove. When it's safe, you're getting the fuck out of here, Evan growls. David staggers away, gasping for breath, and Evan returns to the window, watching. The tense silence that settles over the room is soon broken by the distant, agonizing shouts outside. Frantic cries for help, a woman screaming a name, the unmistakable crack of glass being shattered. It sounds closer now. Too close. Nearly an hour passes, in heavy quiet, broken only when Layla pads softly into the living room, rubbing her eyes and clutching her plush bunny. Mama, I hungry, she says, her small voice a thread of normalcy in the chaos. Before I can respond, Christine rises quickly and crosses to Lila, scooping her up with maternal ease. I'll take care of it. I need something to do, she says, and disappears into the kitchen with her. David, subdued now after his earlier clash with Evan, sits murmuring with Cynthia on the far side of the room. There's a hushed tone to their conversation, heads bowed close, like two kids chastised, and now plotting their next move quietly. Whatever energy they had before is gone, for now. Lola joins Christine in the kitchen, their movements quiet, methodical. Meanwhile, Joe, Freddie, Jeremy, and Michelle are huddled around Joe's laptop, faces lit by its glow, eyes darting across the screen as they read aloud the fragmented, panicked updates posted by Joe's gamer friends across the country. Reports of collapses, overwhelmed hospitals, blocked roads, and entire towns gone silent. Evan hasn't moved from his post by the window. He stands like a statue, gaze sharp, jaw locked, watching, waiting. For what? None of us know. I slip away and make my way toward Lara's bedroom. I expect her to be asleep, exhausted from the emotional toll of the day, but instead I find her sitting at the foot of the bed, shoulders shaking. She's crying silently, her back to me. Hey, I say gently. What's wrong? At the sound of my voice, her sobs burst forth harder. She turns and rushes into my arms, burying her face against my shoulder. I hold her, tight and still, letting her cry it out. Minutes pass. When she finally lifts her face, it's blotchy, streaked with tears, and red from wiping. I tried calling you, she says, voice hoarse and cracking. When this shitstorm started, I was blowing up your phone. Where the fuck was it? I must have left like 100 missed calls. Do you have any idea how scared I was? I thought you'd been attacked, turned into one of those things out there. Guilt wraps around my chest like a vice. I'm sorry. I left it in Evan's closet, on the floor. I didn't even think to check. She lets out a sharp, incredulous scoff, but then hugs me tighter. We stay that way a bit longer, the only sounds, the murmurs from the living room, the soft sniffling of her breathing, and the blood-curdling screams still echoing from the street below. Eventually, she pulls back just enough to look me in the eye, and mutters, "So, Evan Wilde wants to fuck you." "Oh, for God's sake, Lara," I groan, running a hand down my face, exhausted. "I'm just saying," she shrugs, her tone lighter now. "If the world really is going to hell, why not screw the hot guy before it ends? I came in here to check on you. Seems like you're just fine now," I mutter, turning toward the door. She follows close behind, smirking. Back in the living room, I make a beeline for Evan, relieved to see Layla seated on the couch beside Christine, nibbling on a peanut butter sandwich and watching cartoons with her headphones on. "Are we allowed to eat now? Or will I be choked out for even asking?" David's voice slices through the air, brittle and sarcastic. I freeze in my tracks. The room quiets for a beat. Lola's sandwiches are being eaten. Everyone has one, except for David, Cynthia, and Evan. Evan doesn't even turn to look at him. "Say anything stupid again," he says with chilling calm, "and I'll personally feed you to those things outside." I suck in a breath and force myself to look away, walking the last few steps to Evan. I keep my voice low. "Anything new?" His eyes don't leave the window. "We need to leave," he says, almost too quietly. "What? Why?" "I don't think this building will be safe for long. Your neighbors, all those people we saw earlier, I give it until morning, before they're either sick or turned." His tone is dead serious. "How much food do you have in here?" I hesitate. "We keep a lot, because of Joe and Layla." "I'll have to check." He nods once. "Good, but I don't think this situation is going to get better. We need to plan for..." His words die in his throat as his body stiffens. His eyes lock on something outside. I follow his gaze. Donnie. Shit, I completely forgot about her immediately after she stepped out of the door. In the car, she's convulsing violently in the front seat. Then, just as suddenly, she goes still. My breath catches in my throat. Without warning, Danny jerks upright and slams her arms against the dashboard. Her body twists at impossible angles. She begins to thrash against the inside of the car like an animal in a cage, mouth open in a silent, chilling scream. Her lips peel back, revealing blood-blackened gums. Her tongue, now pitch dark and swollen, lashes against her teeth as she bangs her fists against the windshield. I hear a sharp inhale next to me and jump. "Lola. I told you she'd turn," she says, matter-of-factly, holding out 2 sandwiches and bottles of water to us. "Eat. You'll need your strength." Evan takes his without comment. I do the same, barely able to feel the sandwich in my hands. He glances at his watch. "Approximately 3 hours from infection to turning," he murmurs, eyes still fixed on Danny's horrific transformation unfolding before us. "Joe says this whole thing might have started on the East Coast," Lola announces suddenly, her voice sharp and raised so that everyone in the room can hear. Her arms are folded tightly across her chest as she continues. "Emma's husband flew in from New York last night. She must have gotten it from him. And if it spreads through body fluids, like Christine suggested, then by Joe's timeline, she got infected this morning. Maybe through sex. Or even just a kiss. There's a pause, as the weight of her words settles over the room like fog. It's just a theory, Cynthia says dismissively, waving a hand like she's swatting away smoke. The government is on it. This whole thing will blow over. You'll see. You're still on that? Lola snaps, incredulous. Cynthia crosses her legs with practiced grace, her voice cool and smug. I'd rather listen to someone who looks like they know what they're talking about. Not a grandma and an esthetician who sticks needles in my arm. No offense. David snorts with amusement, clearly enjoying the barb. Lola doesn't flinch. Her disgust is palpable, simmering under the surface. I was trained as a nurse. Worked in the ER for 5 years before I realized I could make more money injecting vitamins into entitled rich assholes like you. Christine doesn't raise her voice, but her tone cuts through the tension like a scalpel. And I might be a grandma, but I've been Dr. Christine Lowe for over 2 decades. Are we going to be stuck in here listening to your bitching until the end of the world? Or do you plan to be useful at some point? She gently places the headphones back on Lila's ears and hands her the tablet, patting her hair with quiet affection. Jeremy smirks. See, Ma? I always told you there were bigger assholes out there than me. He scoops Lila up into his arms. Come on, sweetie. Let's go to your room. I'll show you our secret $1 million stash. Lila giggles as he carries her off, the tension breaking slightly in their wake. It's the silence that wakes me. The kind of silence that hums in your ears because you're used to noise, used to screams, car horns, crying, the distant thud of something slamming into a wall. But now? Nothing. I blink against the darkness of the room. I'm in bed with Lara and Layla, Lara's arm slung protectively around her niece. Both of them sound asleep. Joe is curled on the carpet beside us like a loyal dog, snoring softly. He stirs when I sit up. What is it? He whispers, voice groggy. It's too quiet, I say, my heart starting to race. Something feels wrong. Joe frowns and pushes himself upright, listening. The stillness in the air is unnerving. Even the wind outside feels like it's holding its breath. What do you think it means? He asks after a moment. I don't answer. I'm already on my feet, padding quietly toward the living room. That's when I hear the low voices, whispers just on the edge of audibility. Cynthia, I really don't think this is a good idea, Michelle pleads, her voice shaky and urgent. I have to get to my mom, Cynthia whispers back. She's alone. I can't leave her. I stay hidden in the shadows, watching as the front door creaks open. 2 figures slip out, Cynthia and David, and the door shuts behind them like it's closing off a secret. Then, like a signal has been triggered, headlights across the neighborhood flare to life in perfect, eerie coordination. Engines rumble to life. Tires squeal. Cars begin to reverse and drive off in chaotic panic, some crashing into others, horns blaring. The sound is deafening in the silence that preceded it. I rush to the window in time to see David and Cynthia sprint toward Evan's car. David leaps into the front passenger seat, slamming the door shut in one smooth motion. Cynthia throws open the back door and dives in. Within seconds, the car coughs to life, sputtering as if reluctant to help them. Then it finally roars and speeds off into the night, disappearing into the frenzy. But the noise draws attention. From the shadows and corners of the streets, shapes begin to stir. The dead, attracted by the sound, shuffle toward the movement like moths to a flame. Even Danny, who had been still and eerily calm in Evan's car, suddenly thrashes inside. Her body jerks, her face twisting in rage, blackened tongue slamming against her teeth as she hurls herself against the windows again and again. Someone has to take her out, I mutter under my breath. I don't think anyone hears me, until I feel it. The eyes. The weight of everyone's gaze turning toward me. The silence is gone. Freddie blinks, his voice shaky. What do you mean, take her out? Like, move her out of the car? I shake my head slowly, not answering. The implication hangs in the air, thick and horrible. I retreat to the bedroom without another word, back to the only place that feels even remotely safe. Lara and Layla are still sleeping, undisturbed by the noise or the tension crackling through the house like a live wire. I look at them, Lila's tiny fingers curled around her blanket, Lara's brow furrowed in a half-dream, and I envy them deeply. The world is burning outside, and they can still sleep. I wake to silence again. Christine, Michelle, and Lola took Lara's room, and the men are all in the living room. The strong smell of coffee invigorates me. When I reach beside me and find the space empty, panic sets in, until I hear Layla's giggles from the other room. I exhale slowly, taking a brief moment to myself to shower and get dressed. When I join the others, Layla runs to me, arms up. Good morning, Button, I say, kissing her cheek. The moment I lift her, she squirms free and continues darting around the room like a pinball. The television is on but showing nothing but static. What's happening? I ask. The news channels are out, Lola answers, dark circles etched under her eyes. She must have stayed up all night on that couch, watching for updates. How long ago? I press. She looks at me with tired, gray eyes. About 4 hours. I walk to the window, scanning outside. Something feels off, until I realize what's missing. Evan, Danny's gone, I say. No one in the room looks surprised. I took care of it, Evan replies. His hair is damp, and he's wearing Joe's clothes, which hang slightly off his frame. What do you mean? I ask. He stands up from the bar stool. Don't worry about it. We've got more immediate things to deal with. Lara is working through the pantry, scribbling notes. Inventory. I was supposed to do that yesterday. I grab a mug and sip the coffee. Like what? I ask, and the lights go out. Every blind is drawn except the one facing the front, casting the house into an unnatural gloom. That, Evan mutters, circling his hand. Michelle rushes in holding her phone, horror across her face. The power and the network are out, she says. Cynthia and David are on their way back. I was on the phone with Cynthia when it cut off. They're coming back? I ask, startled. Are they alone or? Michelle shakes her head. I don't think so. We didn't get that far in the conversation. What now? Lola bites her bottom lip. Now that the power is gone, water's next, Evan says. We can't stay here. How many cars do we have? We've got 2 in the garage, I reply. Plus the Bentley, that's 3. But where would we go? Christine asks, hitting the question everyone's been avoiding. Before anyone can answer, there's a low, urgent knock at the door. Freddie and Jeremy exchange a look. Both stand, one with a bat, the other with a wrench. Mish, Evan, please let us in, comes a whisper from outside. Jeremy opens the door, and 3 adults and a child stumble in. David and Cynthia. The woman and child are strangers. Michelle rushes to embrace Cynthia. Gracious, Cynthia, I thought you wouldn't make it. Christine steps forward before I can speak. We need to make sure none of you are bitten. We're clean, David says quickly. Biters didn't get near us. I'd like to believe that, Christine replies, but I don't know you from Adam. No need to strip. Just show us your arms, neck, and legs up to the knees. They comply. All clear. I approach the woman. The little girl clings to her leg. She's maybe 4 or 5. Have you eaten? I ask gently. She shakes her head, eyes welling with exhausted relief. We left last night, but the biters, they overwhelmed our car. I want to ask a dozen questions, but instead, I lead them to the kitchen. I fix sandwiches, juice, fruit. Coffee for the mother. How bad are things out there? Evan asks. Cynthia shakes her head. Silent. David answers. It's madness. We got to her mom's place with little trouble, but by the time we left, traffic was jammed. We waited, like everyone else, hoping it would clear. It didn't. He drinks deeply from his coffee. We were a mile from here when a horde hit. So much death. He pauses, swallowing hard. They flipped a Ford truck like it was nothing. Jesus, Joe mutters. They flipped a truck? Christine echoes in disbelief. David nods. They almost got us too, but we abandoned the car and holed up in an empty house for the night. I glance around. We'll need a bigger car. We won't make it far in what we have. Where the hell would we find one? Lara asks. How big? Joe follows up. An RV. A bus, David suggests. Joe scoffs, then hesitates. Wait, Mr. Seinfeld. The school drug dealer? I ask with a bit of sarcasm. He rolls his eyes. Lara giggles. It's weed, not drugs. And that's just a side hustle. His main job? Jeremy groans. Seriously? He's still selling to kids? He's a bus driver, I say. And then it clicks. Exactly, Joe says. What's safer than a school bus? Do you know where it's parked? Evan asks Jeremy. Jeremy and Joe nod. If he hasn't changed his habits, Jeremy says, I know exactly where he hides the keys. That's assuming he didn't take it for himself. Joe adds. Silence follows. Brief. Heavy. We have to take a chance, Evan says, rising. Cynthia is still plastered to him, but he steps away. My question still stands, Christine repeats. Where will we go? Somewhere away from people, Evan answers. The bigger the group, the harder to control. Lara speaks up. Kelly, remember the cabin we used to visit with Ma and Pa? I nod. It's about 3 hours away, off-grid. We used to spend summers there. Secluded, lots of space. Could work. Evan nods. That's a start. We leave soon. Power's out, water's next. 12 adults, 2 kids. Without water, this place becomes a disaster. It was agreed that Jeremy and Joe would go pick up the bus and drive it back here to pick us up. I've just changed into my Doc Martens, an impractical dress that falls right above my knees, and a leather jacket when I hear banging on the front door. Person, Lila points. I double-check that her shoes are tightly laced, and, satisfied with her dungarees, I chew my finger, worrying about the diapers. I thought I'd stock up when I got back from Amsterdam. Now we're down to 3 days' worth. The loud, persistent knock continues, and I'm annoyed no one is handling it. There are more than enough people in the house to deal with it. I'm even more annoyed when I notice the idiot outside is pulling a crowd of biters toward our house. Lara, are you home? Please open the door. the voice outside pleads. I pick up Lila and head to the living room. Everyone is standing and on edge. Emma, the woman who came with David and Canyon, clutches her daughter Charlie. Evan holds up a finger to stop Lara from heading to the door. The woman outside keeps shouting, and then I recognize her voice. Natalie, Lara's best friend. The house is silent, except for the growing chaos outside. Evan signals Lara to the window and whispers, "Look at her hand." Lara gasps. I look too, and I gasp, not just because of Natalie's hand, but because of the sheer number of biters. About 24, all drawn to her shouting. I add juice boxes and snacks from the duffel bag of food into my diaper bag, strapping it to my back. Once Jeremy and Joe leave, they say they'll be back within the hour. The bus will draw more biters, so we have to be ready. Suddenly, the shouting stops. Natalie starts beating on one of the living room windows. The loud crash makes Charlie cry out, which triggers Layla into a wail. Natalie collapses to her knees, a seizure overtaking her. I shush Layla. She quiets quickly, but I know it's already too late. My heartbeat pounds in my ears. With Lila on my hip, I think, I need her carrier. I move toward the coat rack. Without a word, everyone starts preparing. Bracing. The biters reach the house and begin banging on the windows and doors. We're leaving through the back, Evan says, grabbing a knife and the food duffel. Freddie and David pick up the other 2 bags. We rush to the back door. The moment I step outside, a horrible stench hits me. I almost gag, but my eyes scan the yard, searching for any of the dead, walking. I hear the windows breaking back at the house and panic almost overtakes me, but I follow Joe as he leads us through our neighbor's backyard. Lara is close behind me, and quickly we clear 4 houses, until the 5th. There, 2 of the owners patrol their backyard, though clearly dead. The growling and the thick stench make me stumble back. The wife's neck is tilted at a strange angle, and the husband is missing an eye. I hold Layla tighter, relieved when Freddie swings the bat, clean hit to the husband's head. It's the wife who goes down more messily. When Evan stabs her through the neck, nothing happens. For a horrible moment I fear she'll bite him. He yanks his knife back. The second blow lands in her cheek, still doesn't take her down. Shit, he mutters. The third blow lands in her eye. The knife gets stuck. He lets the gore-covered kitchen utensil fall with her. Good? My whisper comes out wide-eyed. He nods, and we keep walking. I think to myself, I need a weapon. It's pathetic how much I'm depending on the men to keep me safe. We pick up the pace. I start to lag behind. Jeremy and Joe are far ahead, leading, and I'm not surprised to see Christine right behind them. She may be older, but she's been running marathons with her son since he was a teenager. I slow down, glancing at Lila, her head buried in my neck. Tears prick my eyes. I pick up an old pipe lying on the ground. Evan appears beside me, making sure I'm not alone. We keep a steady pace until we catch up with the others. David has his daughter on his back. Then I see why we stopped. A large group of biters shuffles down the road. I swallow hard. Once the bulk of the horde passes, Evan turns to me. "Let me carry her," he says. I clutch Layla tighter. "We'll be faster if I do." Jeremy can't. He's at the front. "Promise me you'll keep her safe," I whisper. He nods. I untie the carrier. Together, we strap it onto him. As I lift Layla to him, she hesitates. "Mama's tired," I tell her. "Van will carry you, okay?" She nods. "Okay, Mama." I'm grateful her voice is low. We begin walking again. I feel lighter. My pace increases. Evan, with the toddler duffel bag and a plank in his hand, still moves faster than me. Lara and I flank the group, both of us painfully aware we're the weakest, with the least stamina. It would be funny if it weren't so pathetic. Though we're skinny, it's more from genetics than any kind of workout regimen or healthy lifestyle. I nearly cry with relief when we reach the school. The place is eerily quiet. Joe and Jeremy rush ahead, find the bus, and, with luck, find it empty. We all run. When I board the yellow vehicle, I exhale deeply. The engine roars to life. I scan for Evan. He's walking down the aisle toward me from the back, carrying only Layla now. He unstraps her, and she melts into my arms. Jeremy approaches Evan. "Thanks, man," he says. Then he turns to me. "Give Lila to me. Only you know where the cabin is." "It's been years. I wouldn't remember," Lara says from a few seats ahead. "The last time we went to the cabin, she was 13. I was 17. I move up to the front of the bus and find Freddie behind the wheel. I take the seat directly behind him, ready to be his navigator. The first 15 minutes of the trip pass without incident. The bus hums along, heavy but stable, its engine the only sound in the eerie quiet that has swallowed the world. Lila sleeps fitfully on my lap, twitching now and then, her fingers clenched in my jacket. Then we hit our first obstacle, a dense snarl of abandoned vehicles, crumpled in a permanent traffic jam across the road. A few biters shamble between the cars, their heads snapping toward us the moment the bus comes into view. They've seen us. Freddie mutters, already shifting the gear into reverse. The bus lurches backward, crunching over debris as he maneuvers us out of sight. The detour costs us over an hour. When we finally merge onto the interstate and leave the Bay Area behind, a collective breath seems to leave the group. Evan slides into the seat next to me. Across the aisle, I hear Lara talking with Lola, Christine, and Emma. I've done the math, Lara says grimly. The food we have will last 3 days max if we eat twice a day. Maybe 6 if we stretch it to once daily. What about the kids? Lola asks. Layla and Charlie can't survive on 1 meal a day. I nod, my chest tightening. Rationing is doable for adults, but how do you explain hunger to a 4-year-old? Or worse, a toddler? We'll hit a convenience store as soon as we see one, Evan says firmly. How's the gas? I ask Freddie, who is focused on the road. Good thing you asked, he replies. We've got maybe 3 miles left. Tops. We need to find a gas station. Pronto. The bus crawls forward, dodging wrecks and overturned sedans. Our speed is half what I hoped for, the weight of the bus and its passengers slowing us even more. Relief flickers through me when we spot a sign up ahead, a gas station. But the moment we pull into view, that hope withers. A sea of cars chokes the parking lot, packed tight in chaotic rows. The station looks dead, utterly still. Only a few slow-moving biters loiter near the pumps. Freddie brings the bus to a stop and swivels in his seat. What's the plan? The others gather at the front. First, we get gas. Then food, Jeremy says. If there's anything left, Evan mutters, gesturing toward the ground. Torn chip packets and scattered wrappers litter the lot. Looks like a dead zone. My guess? Everyone tried their luck here and left empty. What now? Freddie asks, scanning the group. This thing won't make it a mile without fuel. It wouldn't hurt to check, Christine suggests. Either that, or we hoof it. And after that run earlier, I'm not eager to do that again. Evan's mouth tightens. We don't know where the owners of these vehicles are, or if they're still human. It's risky. Who's willing to go? Joe raises a brow. What do you suggest? We look for a short hose, maybe a foot long. We can try siphoning gas from the cars. Seriously? Cynthia asks, incredulous. Do any of us even know how? I do, Evan replies. I've done it before. I'll handle it. He turns to Jeremy. Can I have the bat? What are you planning? I ask, rising from my seat. Probably a hose from the landscaping area. The grass is too well kept. Someone had to be maintaining it. You're not going alone. I won't, Joe says quickly. I've got his back. I'm coming too, Michelle adds. Well, if we're going out anyway, we might as well check the pumps, Jeremy says, glancing at David. You in? Sure, David replies. Let's see if there's anything left. I'll come too, I begin, but both Jeremy and Evan speak at once. No, Jeremy adds. We can't both go. Someone needs to stay with Lila. I nod, silenced. Of course he's right. Once plans are made, the 6 of them split up. Evan, Joe, and Michelle head toward the rear of the station. Jeremy, Freddie, and David make for the pumps. I slide into the driver's seat, hands on the wheel, ready to hit the gas at the first sign of trouble. The tension is thick as the minutes crawl by. I keep my eyes on Evan's group at the back, but I can't see the others. They move cautiously, weaving between cars. The stillness unnerves me. And then a horrible thought strikes. What if the biters are under the cars? Jeremy's team returns quickly, empty-handed. Nothing? I whisper. Jeremy shakes his head. Evan was right. It's been picked clean. What's taking them so long? Cynthia asks, chewing her lower lip. Maybe we should check on them, Freddie offers. No, I say firm. It's quiet. If something had gone wrong, we'd have heard it. Let's give them 10 more minutes. We don't need that long. The sound of running feet and squeaking wheels cuts through the stillness. Michelle is sprinting toward the bus, her arms flailing. Behind her, Evan pushes a cart stacked with boxes. Joe's dragging it from the back. Shit! Someone open the emergency doors. I yell. A moan rises behind them, dozens of biters giving chase. I hear the doors swing open. Get in, someone shouts. Michelle climbs in first, diving headfirst through the door. I start the engine, foot poised above the gas pedal. Status? Not yet, comes the answer. One of the dead slams into the bus. Then another. I grip the wheel tighter. Guys, we're loading. Joe yells. I see boxes getting shoved inside. More pounding. The bus shifts under the weight. For fuck's sake, Joe. Evan. Get in or I'm leaving you behind. My pulse thrashes in my ears. The window near me rattles. A walker smears blood across the glass. Go! Someone yells. I hit the pedal. The bus roars forward. Heart hammering, I check the mirror, then breathe deeply when I see them. Both Evan and Joe. Inside and alive. They're covered in sweat and grime, but they're here. And we're moving. The bus rolls for another mile before it lets out a stuttering groan and jerks to a stop. "Oh, come on," I exclaim, smacking the steering wheel. "Well," Evan says, leaning forward to peer out the dusty windshield. "It made it further than we hoped. At least we left the dead far behind." I glance over at him. "How long do you think they'll keep walking down this road?" "I don't know," he replies, standing and stretching. "But I better get to work." He walks toward the back of the bus, and I follow him, curious. This is the first time I'm seeing what they actually managed to bring in from the cart. Boxes are stacked high, and on top of them lies a whole coil of hosepipe. "What's all this?" I ask. "I thought you only needed, 2 feet of hose?" Evan is already unwinding it, measuring with his hands. A sheepish smile crosses his face. "We didn't have a knife. And that," Lola pipes up, popping open one of the boxes, "is all ramen. In cups and packs. And juice boxes." Joe swore he and Lila survive on juice boxes alone, she adds with a shrug. "And besides, they were the easiest things to carry." Evan grabs 2 metal gas cans and starts walking toward the front of the bus. The road ahead is littered with abandoned vehicles. Surely some of them still have gas. "I think it's safe for everyone to go out and pee," Christine announces from one of the side benches. "How do you know?" I ask, skeptical. "Smell the air," she replies. "It's clean, sweet, not a whiff of rot." She hops off the bus before I can say anything more. I'm the last to leave, carefully lifting Layla into my arms. "You've been so brave today, Button," I whisper to her. She sighs in her sleep, warm against my chest as I step outside, half expecting a biter to leap from the trees. But Christine was right. The air smells fresh, peaceful even. And now that I'm out here, I realize I do need to pee. I glance around. Joe, Evan, Cynthia, and Freddie are already busy siphoning fuel from the cars lining the roadside. Freddie fills the first canister and takes it to the bus. Others search the cars, either for supplies or a bit of privacy. Once everyone's done, Evan waves for us to return to the bus. As I reach the door, Lila's still clinging to me like a baby monkey. Evan steps in my path, palm raised. I look at him, slightly annoyed. My back is sore, my legs are tired, and I've been carrying my daughter the whole time. "What?" I snap, exhaustion sharp in my voice. His eyes, those calm, clear green eyes, lock with mine. Then he holds out a hammer. "Don't let this out of your sight," he says quietly. "It's not safe to move around without a weapon." I feel my face flush with shame. "Thanks," I murmur, taking it. "I won't." He nods once, then climbs in behind me, tapping the side of the bus. "Let's get back on the road, Freddie." As we wind our way up the narrow road toward the cabin, a strange sense of dread settles in my stomach. A few times, I question myself. Had I remembered it right? Was it still even there? "I don't remember there being any houses," I mutter, staring out the window. "This place looks..." Lara scratches her head. "Different," I finish. "There weren't all these houses last time I came here." The bus rumbles past the new constructions, and then we turn off onto the old gravel path. For a moment, I feel like we've finally left the world behind. But just as we approach the cabin trail, 3 men step out of the woods, blocking the road. They wear dark uniforms. Police. And each holds a rifle. "Turn your vehicle around and leave," one of them shouts. Fear ripples through the bus like static. Looks are exchanged. I see Jeremy tighten his grip on Lila. Christine's hand creeps toward her bag. I figure maybe we can reason with them. I step forward and pass Layla to Jeremy. "I'm going to talk to them." "Callie, don't," Evan says sharply, grabbing my arm. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" "I'm just going to ask them to let us through." "For God's sake, Callie." "I'll handle it," he says, striding past me, throwing open the door with his hands raised. I follow, ignoring Lara's whispered protest behind me. Evan glares at me, then turns to the officers. "We just want to pass through. We're not here to cause trouble. This is private property." One of them responds coolly. "Please," I add quickly, stepping beside Evan. "Or maybe we're lost. My stepdad had a cabin somewhere here. It was called the Blue Nest." One of the officers lowers his gun, pulling off his sunglasses. His eyes widen. "Callie?" he asks. My jaw drops. "Polly?" "Callie, I can't believe it." He breaks into a grin and sweeps me into a hug. I freeze, then hug him back, laughter bubbling in my chest. It's been 11 years since I last saw Paul, right after my 16th birthday. "Paul!" Lara cries, rushing out and throwing her arms around him. A wave of emotion breaks over me. "I'll be damned," Jeremy says, stepping down with Lila in his arms. "Paul, you piece of shit." The two clap each other on the back, grinning like boys again. Then a throat clears behind Paul, and a deeper voice speaks. "Maybe we should take this inside. We don't want the sound to carry." His tone is a little cautious, but not unkind. "Of course," Paul says brightly. "Drive up to the cabin. I'll meet you there." We climb back onto the bus. As we settle in, Evan's eyes stay fixed on me. "What?" I ask, defensive. Do you think he's dangerous? Evan nods toward Paul through the windshield. Just making sure. He's safe, I assure him. Paul's my brother. Evan doesn't reply, but his eyes linger on me for a moment longer before he finally looks away. Paul jogs right up to us, his face flushed, and for the first time I take proper stock of him. He's heavier now. Not overweight, just filled out, broader. The sharp angles of the 18-year-old boy who left are gone, softened into the man who only turned up again for his father's funeral. His gaze sweeps our group, warm as he gives Christine a quick hug. But when he fully takes us in, something shifts in his expression. His smile falters. Grace? He asks, looking directly at me. The name hits like a hammer to the chest. Ma died 6 years ago, Paul. A shadow crosses his features. The joy at seeing us dims just enough that I feel guilty for it. It must be my imagination, but I swear I can see the air leave his lungs. A woman steps out of the house with a little boy, maybe 7 years old, clinging to her side. Her lips curve upward in a knowing little tilt. This is my wife, Lindsay, and our son, Donnie, Paul says with quiet pride, resting a hand on the boy's shoulder. Babe, this is Callie and Lara, Lindsay finishes for him. I told you they'd come. She winks at him, then surprises me by pulling me and Lara into a hug instead of a handshake. The introductions go ahead. I see Paul hesitate, just a blink, when he realizes Layla is Jeremy's child and mine. His mouth twitches, poorly masking whatever thought passed through his mind. But he recovers quickly. Their group is smaller. Paul's family of 3. Eddie, the sheriff, who insists we call him by name, his wife Kate, their teen son Mike, Paul's partner Ryan, who could easily grace the cover of a survivalist fashion magazine, and Tyler, who they say they picked up along the way. After the greetings, people slowly disperse. Kate and Lindsay start showing the more curious among us around the modest 3-bedroom cabin. The other men stand guard near the perimeter, casually scanning the tree line, rifles slung loose but ready. Now it's just me, Evan, Paul, and the sheriff. The air shifts, turning more serious. It's gonna be a tight fit, I start, trying to sound diplomatic. Paul exhales just as Tyler drives a blade into a biter that had stumbled into view. We were planning to leave tomorrow, Paul says. This place isn't safe anymore. Where to? Evan asks, his voice calm but clipped. He looks at both men evenly, but I can see the edge in his posture, the quiet calculation. Heck if we know, Paul admits. Somewhere quieter, less people. Somewhere we can maybe build something before winter hits. Winter's in 2 months, I murmur. That makes both Paul and Eddie grimace, their mouths pulling tight. I'd wager any viable land, farms, ranches, cabins, already has folks on it, Evan says, voice steady like he's reading out a fact from a textbook. And the empty ones? They'll be blood-soaked battlefields. People flee cities when the world collapses. Always have. Eddie runs a thumb along the barrel of his rifle. Well, with all of us together, we could fight for something if we had to. The words twist in my gut. The idea of fighting people, not the dead, but the living, makes my stomach knot. But then I look over at Lila playing near the porch and think, maybe I could, until another group comes along and fights us for it. Paul mutters. There's another option, Evan says. His voice is quiet but certain. No one to fight, no one to even find us. It's safer than anything else I've seen. Off-grid electricity, riverside with fish, game, food enough to last at least 2 years. I turn to look at him, brow furrowed. You're making it sound like paradise. He doesn't smile. He smirks. Just slightly. I'm not exaggerating. The tree house, I whisper. Evan nods, meeting my gaze. His eyes linger. Steady, intense. The kind of look that makes my breath hitch. I hate that I feel heat pool in my cheeks. Paul scratches the back of his neck. Sounds small. Are you sure it can hold all of us? It's a hell of a lot bigger than this place, Evan says, his voice low and assured. And there's enough wood for everyone to build more. If you've got the will. Paul gives a wary chuckle. But it's all the way in Alaska, I say. That earns a double curse from both men. Alaska's a whole damn world away, Eddie says. Especially now. That's the point, Evan replies. He runs a hand over his jaw, and the rasping sound of it sends a strange flutter through me. It's stupid. Now is not the time. But then he glances at me, just a flick of his green eyes, and my mouth goes dry. He turns back to Paul. Its remoteness is its strength. No one's looking there. No one's fighting there. We won't just survive. We'll live. There's a silence that follows. A charged one. And while Paul considers, Evan shifts just slightly closer to me. Not enough to draw attention, but enough that I feel the heat of his arm brushing mine. My eyes flick toward him, and I know he's doing it on purpose. I swallow hard. Paul looks between us and asks the question hanging in the air. What do you think? Paul turns introspective for a second, his eyes settling on me. I'll stay with you, whatever decision you make. His voice carries a hint of old regret, like he's still trying to make peace with the version of himself who left. I give him a small nod, grateful but not sure what to do with the weight of the sentiment. And besides, Sheriff, Paul adds, turning toward Eddie, our neighbors aren't exactly neighborly. What choice do we have? So, we're going. I shift my gaze toward the house, but I think we should ask everyone else. Let them choose. The journey here had felt like hope, like maybe we'd found something solid. But since we arrived, I've seen 4 biters cut down within eyesight. This place is a magnet for the dead. You've already met the neighbors? Evan's voice is calm, but I catch the steel beneath it. The sheriff nods. Took half our food. Called it a tax if we wanted to stay here. I stare at him, disgust cutting through my fatigue. So there's already a gang set up? Paul gives a dry laugh. Not a gang. The homeowners. The tax is only for us. The outsiders. He lifts his nose slightly, sniffing the air. A sour rot hits me just before 5 biters shuffle out of the trees. Paul and the sheriff are already moving, joining their sentries. I watch them work, efficient, clean, all single head blows. When the last one drops, a meeting is quickly pulled together. Evan steps forward, his voice smooth and low, as he tells them about the treehouse. Why can't we just stay here? Emma's voice breaks the silence, hesitant, but firm. This place is hard to secure, the sheriff replies. Too close to the suburbs, and the locals don't want us here. The dead come in waves, and the kids, they can't even play outside. How do you know the locals don't want us here? David asks. Because they told us, Ryan calls from the edge of the group. Their words exactly. We don't want you new folk here, but since you're lawmen, we'll let you stay if you pay tax. That tax was half our food. Murmurs ripple through the group, but Alaska is so far. Lindsay murmurs. The kids are still inside, thankfully unaware of how close the danger is. It is, Evan admits. Over 3,000 miles, 55 hours by road, but if nothing goes sideways, we can be there in a week. Something in the way he says it, cool, confident, unshaken, makes people listen. I catch the shift in Lindsay's eyes. He's convincing her. I think we should vote, Christine says. Whoever wants to go can go. Whoever doesn't, doesn't. Let's do it then, the sheriff says. Who wants to travel to Alaska? I raise my hand, and Evan's hand goes up beside mine. Our arms brush. Not an accident. I glance at him and find his eyes already on me. The corner of his mouth lifts. Subtle, charged. Joe and Jeremy follow. Christine, too. I scan for Paul. He's got his hand up, exchanging a meaningful look with Lindsay, who finally nods. Slowly, the hands rise. Hesitation thins, and soon most of the group is on board. We'll need a shit ton of gas and food to make it, Tyler says flatly. Paul nods. We saw a place. Strip mall with a huge department store, gas station, down the road. Mike's face pales. That place is crawling with biters. It is, Paul agrees. But if we clear it out, we'll have enough supplies to last the trip. How bad is it? Jeremy asks. If we all pitch in, maybe we can manage. But even Paul doesn't sound sure. The mood sinks. Paul's crew has clearly handled more of the undead than we ever have. My group, we've barely scraped by. We have little to no experience killing the dead, Evan admits. And I'm surprised he says it aloud. Kate steps forward. It's easy once you get used to it. Aim for the head. Stay clear of bites. And whatever you do, don't let that goo hit any open wounds. Goo? Cynthia's voice is small but sharp. Yeah, goo, Kate repeats. Her eyes flick to her son. Then she opens her mouth to explain. An engine cuts through the air. The red Jeep rolls in and stops near our group. 3 men step out, armed. Ryan smirks. Tax collectors are here. They're not what I expected. Not leather-wearing thugs or gangbangers. Just suburban dads with soft middles and faded polo shirts, who've replaced golf clubs with rifles. Well, 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 one of them says, grinning like a sitcom villain. Hope you kids aren't planning any trouble. Evan steps forward. Calm. Unblinking. Dangerous. Hello. One of the men does a double take. Hey, I know you. You're that tech billionaire, Evan Wilde. Didn't think you'd be slumming it with the rest of us. Thought the likes of you had bunkers or something when the world went to shit. Rumors, Evan says coolly. Fake news. We're roughing it like everyone else. His face betrays nothing of his thoughts. One of the 3 snorts, raising his rifle just a little higher. Your billions don't mean shit now. I'm sure your friends told you the rules. Pay the tax, or fuck off. The sun catches the sweat glistening on his balding head. Evan's mouth curves. Not in fear, but something colder. Calculating. I choose fuck off, he says, stepping forward slowly. But before I do, I'd like a word with your boss. Boss? I am the boss, the man who recognized Evan says. Evan gives him a humorless smile. No, you're not. I have something important. A lucrative deal, if I may say so. I want to speak to the man really in charge. The three men glance at each other, still holding their guns, and they pull their triggers, getting ready. Listen, I say, stepping forward, voice steady. You'd have to shoot me first to get a lick of food from us. We've got kids, women, and numbers to take you three down. Sure, shoot me. I nod at the handguns they're waving around. The sheriff, Paul, and Ryan lift their weapons in unison. But by then, you'd be down too. Nervous looks pass between the three. Their bravado fades as they slowly lower their weapons and back away toward the jeep. One of them calls out before they drive off. We'll bring Coach. Don't move a damn muscle. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Are you fucking nuts? I hiss, walking up to Evan. He bites his bottom lip, shrugs lightly. We need manpower to clear that strip mall, right? I think we might just have it. Lila is restless this morning. She senses the tension, as if her small body understands that something isn't right. Getting her to eat even a bite of noodles is a challenge. Just one bite for mommy, I beg, holding up the plastic fork. She scrunches her nose. No, normally I'd offer her fruit, but we're fresh out. She eyes Donnie and Charlie sitting cross-legged on the living room floor, shoveling noodles into their mouths like it's their last meal. Their moms, Emma and Lindsay, barely glance at them, focused elsewhere. Lila runs over, watches the two kids for a moment, then lifts her hand for me to give her the noodle. I set the bowl down, and she digs in without hesitation. Relief floods through me. Then I hear it, the screech of tires outside. Tyler, Jeremy, and Freddie have been working on the bus since dawn, removing the last 3 rows to make storage space. It's just past 9 a.m. We planned to leave as soon as they finished. I glance at Emma and Lindsay. Please keep an eye on Lila. They nod quickly. I step outside. A middle-aged man emerges from the lead vehicle. He's got pristine New Balance sneakers, pressed pants, and a tucked-in gold polo shirt. His politician's smile is wide and practiced. Good morning, everyone, he announces. Evan and the sheriff step down from the bus as 6 other men climb out behind the stranger, all carrying weapons. Guns, golf clubs, a couple of baseball bats. They look ready for a fight. Ah, so Peter was right. Evan Wilde, in the flesh, the man says like he's greeting an old college buddy. Apologies for not showing up last night. Figured whatever you had to say would still matter in the morning. I'm Derek Corrigan, head of the Homeowners Association. The sheriff introduces himself. Corrigan continues. Lead the way. Evan gestures toward the house. Please. Corrigan's men hesitate. He sizes Evan up, but Evan's expression is cool, unreadable. Just mothers feeding their kids inside, Evan adds. Corrigan throws his head back in a forced laugh. I like you. He claps Evan on the shoulder as they enter. I move aside, letting them pass. Emma and Lindsay scoop up the kids and retreat into the kitchen. Corrigan relaxes slightly as he scans the room and takes a seat. I sit next to Evan. The sheriff and Corrigan's men stay standing, silently measuring each other. I'll admit, Evan says, tone cocky, I didn't think you'd show. I'm not letting some outsider make me look like a punk in front of my guys, Corrigan replies. Evan nods. I have a proposal. Let's hear it. The strip mall. 30 minutes east. Corrigan's expression hardens. He knows it. His eyes narrow. We team up, Evan says. Clear it out. The department store's full of supplies. Food for months. And there is a gun shop too, the sheriff adds. Flooded with shufflers, Corrigan says. Shufflers. I like that better than biters. With our groups combined, we can take them, Evan says with surprising confidence. Corrigan leans forward. That's the best stocked place in town for both people and shufflers. When the outbreak started, everyone rushed there. Few made it out. So we're talking a large crowd, I say, voice low. They move slow, and we're a bit of experts at taking them down. Evan lies smoothly. Then why not clear it out yourselves? Even experts can be overwhelmed, I say. Besides, you'll gain more if we work together. Corrigan smirks. That so? Work with us, Evan says, and the place is yours. We'll only take what we can carry. Won't even make a dent in the stock. Still doesn't seem worth the risk. You need the supplies more than we do. Evan looks at a spot on the floor. If you think you'll let us do the work and swoop in later, you're mistaken. Corrigan pauses. Really? Lila walks over and climbs into my lap. I hold her close. We'll burn the whole fucking place down when we're done, Evan says quietly, clearly. Even the sheriff turns to look at him. What the heck? Corrigan stares, then lets out a cold, humorless laugh. You're a sick bastard. You gonna threaten me with your wife and kids sitting right there? He gestures to me and Lila. We've got families to feed too. Then let's go feed them, Evan says flatly. The room is thick with tension. Layla stays perfectly still. Corrigan exhales, runs a hand through his styled hair, ruffling it. Fine. We clear the place. It's ours. You get what you need, and get out. We have a deal. Evan stands, hand extended. Corrigan eyes it a second too long before shaking it. When do you plan to hit the place? Immediately. I'm sure we're not the only ones eyeing it. Corrigan turns to his men. Call Nick. Tell him to gather everyone. It's all hands on deck. He looks back at us. Just a heads up, my people aren't exactly warriors. The ones with me are the best I've got. He adds sheepishly. If they can swing a weapon and hit a head, they're good enough, the sheriff says. People show up in a makeshift convoy, every single one of them clutching some sort of weapon, mostly golf clubs. They look more ready for a community center raffle than a fight for survival. Still, the weapons are distributed one by one among the group. Lindsay and Emma are the exceptions. They'll remain in the car. Emma to watch the kids. Lindsay to be ready behind the wheel in case things go sideways fast. Alrighty everyone, eyes on me, Paul calls out, his voice cutting clean through the chatter. 33 pairs of eyes, some wide, others squinting in wary confusion, snap to him. This is a crash course in how to kill a zombie, Paul announces, lifting his club like a coach leading a mismatched Little League team. For those of you who don't know, he gives a faint, wry grin. Killing a zombie's easy. You just have to hit it anywhere above the nose. One good crack to the temple, forehead, or skull does the trick. He swings the club in a wide, clean arc. Controlled, efficient. Right on cue, a lone zombie stumbles out from the tree line like a grotesque prop in a horror show. Panic ripples through Corrigan's group like electricity. I hear gasps, a soft curse, the shuffle of feet stepping back. But I glance around at our people, our strange little tribe, and feel a flicker of pride. No one so much as flinches. We've seen too much, survived too long. The zombie wears a grease-stained mechanic's jumpsuit. One eye socket is an empty hole. Half his cheek is gone, revealing a ruin of teeth and shredded gums. He groans low, dragging his left foot. Paul strides toward him with a calm like he's about to take out the trash. He swings hard, his club catching the thing square in the temple. Bone crunches wetly. The zombie crumples to the ground like a marionette, with its strings cut. Smooth. Effortless. There's a shift in the group. A couple of Corrigan's people look like they've inhaled courage by osmosis. A thin man with patchy facial hair raises a hesitant hand. Why don't we just shoot them? Some of us have guns. Do not, under any circumstances, shoot a zombie, the sheriff says, his voice ironclad and loud enough to shut down any backtalk. They're attracted to sound. If you fire a gun, it's like ringing a dinner bell to every damn shuffler within half a mile. And believe me, they hear everything. Silence falls like a weighted blanket. Do you understand me? The sheriff barks. A ragged but unified chorus replies, Yes, sir. If anyone shoots, I will shoot you in the fucking feet and watch them eat you first, the sheriff adds coldly. His eyes sweep the group. No one dares move. Corrigan's grin widens. He's clearly enjoying the sheriff's brand of authority a little too much. Then a woman with frizzy gray curls lifts a trembling hand. Mr. C, I'm a pacifist. Can't I sit this out? Corrigan sighs. No, we need all hands on deck, he says, his tone surprisingly soft. He's got the worn patience of a parent trying to get his kid to eat broccoli. More hands go up. Evan steps forward, his presence silencing the growing unrest. Unless it's a question about how to take down a zombie, he says smoothly. We're done here. All the hands drop. I glance at him. The way he moves, the way his voice cuts through fear like silk through fog. God, it does something to me. He's not showing off. Not exactly, but he knows we're watching. Evan turns to Corrigan. Sun's moving fast. We're ready. By the time we leave the cabin, it's past noon. The back of the bus has been reorganized with sharp efficiency. 2 seats now face each other, making a little nook for the kids. A board closes off the side like a makeshift crib. It's not perfect, but it's safe enough. The first stop is a gas station, the parking lot littered with abandoned cars that look more like tombs than vehicles. Paul drives the lead bus. The sheriff's people fan out in 5 trucks, each pulling open trailers behind them. I'm practically vibrating with nervous energy, eager for my first real swing at one of those things. My denim jacket sleeves are buttoned at the wrist. I've found my old knee pads and strapped them on. A purple bike helmet rests snugly over my ponytail. At my waist, I've looped a belt carrying the heavy claw hammer Evan gave me. His hammer. I catch Evan's gaze through the bus window, just before we disembark. The air between us crackles. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't have to. But the look is unmistakable. Pride, warning, and something darker. Possessive. When I step off the bus, I'm one of the first. The pavement is hot under my boots. I spot a zombie lurching from behind a wrecked SUV. It sees me and speeds up, or tries to, blackened teeth gnashing, throat rasping like a broken accordion. The smell hits first, like rotting meat mixed with sewage and gasoline. I don't hesitate. I swing wide and smash the hammer into its jaw. Bone shatters under the force of it, and the zombie collapses at my feet with a wet thud. Adrenaline rockets through my veins. I suck in a sharp breath, half in triumph, half in disbelief. From behind me, I hear Evan's voice, low, unmistakably close. Nice swing. I turn. He's standing there, A little too close, his gaze lingering just a beat too long on the way I'm gripping the hammer. Thanks, I say, forcing my voice to stay steady. His eyes flick to mine. Remind me never to piss you off. The corner of my mouth lifts. Smart man. And just like that, the world around us fades. Just for a heartbeat. Zombies, gas stations, survivors. It all goes quiet under the weight of this. But then the moan of another zombie echoes from behind the pumps, and reality crashes back in. I grip the hammer tighter. He steps aside to let me pass, but our arms brush for a moment. It's nothing. And everything. We say nothing more. But everything we need to say is in that touch. 3 zombies lurch toward us, a grotesque trio with peeling skin and dragging limbs. One locks onto me, teeth snapping in mindless hunger. I raise my golf club, but my swing is half a second too slow, half an inch too wide, and I hate myself for the reason why. Evan. He's no longer behind me, but I can feel his eyes on me. His presence buzzes in my nerves, warm and electric, and that moment of distraction nearly costs me. My club connects, but not well. The zombie stumbles back, dazed but not dead. It lunges again, arms swiping the air between us. I grit my teeth, swing harder, cleaner. True. The head cracks like a brittle gourd, the blow landing just above the temple. The sound vibrates down the shaft of the club, both nauseating and satisfying. It drops. I stand there, chest heaving, lips parted. The air reeks of death, sweat, and motor oil. I glance back. Evan is watching, his eyes dark, unreadable, but there's heat there, approval. Maybe something else. More zombies stagger forward, but they're no match for the surge of resolve that's overtaken us. First kills change people. I can see it in every posture around me. Tighter grips, braver eyes. We move with purpose now. And that's when I realize the seasoned ones, those who fought before, held back. They watched us, the rookies, take on the shambling horde of 40. A test. Or maybe a lesson. Excellent work. I think you kids are ready. Paul shouts from the door of the bus, clapping his hands. I flip him off, wiping my brow with exaggerated flair. He lets out a loud whoop and laughs. Bastard's proud. I take a breath and scan the lot. 3 abandoned cars sit askew, like their owners just vanished. A gas tanker rests ominously on the edge of the lot, its belly still full. Inside the convenience store, Eddie and Jeremy clear it out, taking down a zombie clerk and 2 shufflers who'd made themselves at home by the slushy machine. Freddie whistles as he enters, raising his hand to signal Evan. All clear. Lindsay maneuvers the bus forward and lines it up near the pumps. Gas begins to flow, a small miracle. We move inside to scavenge. Corrigan's group, led by the man I now know as Corrigan Jr., moves with eerie precision. Like ants, quick, coordinated, greedy. Before we can even form a plan, they've gutted the shelves. We're left picking crumbs. I manage to grab a few bottles. Water, soda, a dusty bottle of whiskey. One of Corrigan's people snatches the last pack of Skittles with a smug grin. Seriously? I mutter. Laura, Lola, and Kate nod and disappear into the back. I trust them. They'll do what needs doing. A few moments later, they roll out a trolley, stacked with salvaged boxes. Not much, but better than nothing. Still, 2 of Corrigan's trailers are already overflowing. Their drivers return to their vehicles and pull out just 1 person per truck. I swear they move like fucking ants, I whisper, shaking my head in disbelief. Evan smirks, glancing down at me. Efficient little bastards. Ready to go? Corrigan calls, that infuriating smile on his face like he's just won a silent game we didn't even know we were playing. Mind if some of yours hitch a ride in our bus? He continues, not waiting for an answer. Evan nods to the vehicles with supplies that have left. Corrigan waves a hand in dismissal. They'll be back. We'll go ahead. Sure, we have plenty of room, Evan replies, answering Corrigan's earlier question, his smile razor sharp. I hate him, I hiss, only half joking. But Corrigan hears me. Of course he does. Everything all right, Mrs. Wilde? He asks sweetly. Before I can bite back, Evan's hand slips around my elbow. His fingers are firm, the touch subtle but possessive. We're ready to move out, he says to Corrigan, guiding me away. I don't miss the faint smirk tugging at his mouth. Neither does my pulse. 6 of Corrigan's group join us in the back of the bus. I stride down the aisle in turn, planting myself like a general before her battalion. Okay, listen up, I say, voice clear and crisp. This is how it'll go. Christine, Lola, Lara, you're on meds and sanitation. I want supplies, anything we need and anything we might need later. They nod. Michelle, Eddie, Cynthia, Joe, Mike, David. You're on food. I'm talking cans, cereal, milk, coffee, sugar. You know the drill. Got it, Eddie mutters, already pulling a list from his back pocket. Tyler, Freddie, Jeremy. Spare parts. Prioritize batteries, fuses, jumper cables, belts. If it moves or makes something else move, we need it. They give me quick thumbs up. I turn toward the front. Sheriff, Evan, Ryan, Paul, you're on weapons. Don't bring back crap. We need sharp, reliable, loaded. The sheriff gives a grim nod. Paul salutes, as usual. What am I missing? I ask, scanning the group. What about you? Lara calls out. I smile. A little too sweet. I'm making sure we get what the kids need. And I'll keep a very close eye on Corrigan and his sneaky lizards so they don't sweep the floor out from under us again. Evan leans in, his mouth close to my ear. His breath brushes my skin. Remind me never to get on your bad side. I glance at him, letting my gaze linger just a moment too long. Too late for that, Wilde. My eyes flick toward the back of the bus, where the 6 from Corrigan's crew are seated. One of them, a woman in her late 20s with her nose in the air and horn-rimmed glasses perched on her face, looks particularly offended by our existence. The glasses annoy me, mostly because they actually do make her look prettier. The bus shudders to a halt and parks on the side of the road. We've got company, Eddie says. I look out the window. A battered Volkswagen bus sits ahead, its gray and pink graffiti, like some relic from a happier, dopier time. But the scent wafting in as we step out is unmistakable. Weed, booze, and recklessness. 6 of them, surfer types. Drunk. High. And radiating entitlement. Corrigan's cars pull in behind us, crunching gravel. Yo, this is our gig, one of the surfers calls out, a half-empty bottle of Jack sloshing in his hand. There's more than enough food and supplies in there for all of us, Evan says, his voice calm, reasonable. And that's my strip mall, Corrigan adds with a scowl. Before either argument can go anywhere, a black Ford truck rumbles down the road, flanked by 6 bikers in varying degrees of leather, tattoos, and scowls. The truck parks. A tall woman climbs out of the driver's seat, arms crossed. You guys hitting this place up too? Oh, for fuck's sake, Corrigan groans. Is everyone eyeing my mall? I can't help it, I smile. His annoyance is like honey. Evan raises his voice, cool and diplomatic. As I told these guys, there's enough for all of us. Great, the biker woman replies. Let's do this. Yeah, man, let's fucking go, one of the surfers shouts, already stumbling toward the parking lot. Evan turns to Lindsay behind the wheel. Wait for my whistle. Drive to the entrance when it's clear. She nods. Emma hits the switch, closing the bus doors tight. The 2 women and the kids are sealed in, safe, for now. It's dark in there, Joe says, peering through the glass doors of the department store. The generators must have run out of gas, the sheriff adds. Place was lit up 2 days ago when we passed by. That's an easy fix, Evan says. We bring the tanker over, juice the generators, and flip the lights back on. I'll go, Jeremy offers. Joe joins him. One of Corrigan's guys drives them back to the gas station, then returns. We wait. The surfers are still swigging Jack like it's Gatorade, reeking of smoke and bravado. Then, flick, the lights blaze on inside the mall. The shadows vanish in an instant, revealing movement. Lots of it. Nice. We're on, ladies, one surfer yells, and they all bolt toward the entrance like idiots on spring break. I hear Evan curse under his breath. And then we're running too, but not fast enough. The first thing I see when we reach the lot is blood. One by one, the surfers are being attacked. Too slow, too drunk. One is dragged by his ponytail, screaming, as 5 undead pile onto him like dogs to meat. The crunching sound drowns his voice. A girl stands frozen nearby, eyes wide, tears streaking her cheeks. She clutches a machete but doesn't move. An undead lunges for her. I slam my club into its head, bones cracking under the force. Fucking fight, I bark, pushing her away from the jaws of death. She blinks, gasps, then swings her blade wildly, slicing in every direction. I step back. Don't want to lose an arm to friendly fire. You get into a rhythm killing the undead. There's a beat to it. Head, swing, drop. Next. Head, swing, drop. It's mechanical, precise. You stop seeing faces. You stop thinking, until you almost swing on a live person. I snap out of it. My hands are shaking. My arms feel like they're filled with sand. I'm drenched in rot and viscera, and I stink to the high heavens. I gag, then vomit. Hot bile hits the concrete. I'm still hunched over when a pair of dirty white Nikes step into view. Are you all right? Evan asks gently. I wipe my mouth, nodding as I stagger upright. Good, he says, voice grim, because we're only halfway done. He gestures with his club toward the department store entrance. More of them are staggering out, drawn by the noise. I groan. We push inside, aisle by aisle, room by room. One by one, we take them down. The department store, the hardware store, the gym. It's like clearing out hell, one demon at a time. Big steel hooks get passed around. I hold one up, confused. What's this for? Clean up, Corrigan says, voice as smug as it is practical. Unless you want to spend the night cuddling rotting corpses. I groan again, hating that he's making sense. We drag the bodies outside and pile them up. It smells worse than anything I've ever known. Death, blood, sweat, piss. A cocktail of apocalypse. Somewhere behind us, I hear Evan whistle. A distant engine rumbles to life. I grab a trolley. Everyone else does the same. The air buzzes now with scavenging energy. I head straight for the baby aisle. We're down to one diaper. Layla's gonna need more by tonight. Emma didn't change her. Probably too shaken. Hey, Lola calls out, appearing from an aisle, slurping on a juice box. I stare at her, my arms full of diapers. I need one of those. She tosses me one with a grin. I take a long drink, close my eyes, and breathe. It tastes like fake strawberry and childhood. For a second, just a second, I forget there's blood under my nails and brain matter in my hair. Her sweaty hair is plastered to her face and neck, cheeks flushed from exertion, but somehow, her skin still looks flawless. Not fair. So, Lola says, pushing her nearly full trolley beside mine, what's up with you and Jeremy? I blink. Nothing. He's my friend. The father of my child. She nods slowly. Okay, so why aren't you two together? I sigh, already regretting this conversation. What's with the questions, Lola? Lara joins us just in time to hear the next bomb. Jeremy's hot, Lola says plainly. We've been flirting. There's a shower in the gym. Once I wash the grime off and shave, I'm letting him fuck my brains out. Just wanted to make sure you're cool with that. My jaw drops. I scoop it up off the floor and glance at Lara, who is barely holding back laughter, then back at Lola. Lola, I guarantee you, there is no romantic love between Jeremy and me. So go, get some, if that's what you want. We walk in silence for a moment, the squeak of our wheels the only sound between us. Then, predictably, Lola pipes up again. So, you and Evan have a thing going? I roll my eyes. Evan and I do not have a thing going. You totally do, she says. The whispering, the subtle touches, the eye-fucking. We do not. Ladies, Christine cuts in from a few feet down the aisle. Less yapping, more packing. And yes, you two are constantly eye-fucking, as Lola not so elegantly put it. I don't know how this conversation even got here, I mutter. But for the record, Lola, no, I won't care if you sleep with Jeremy. We dated for about 6 months back in college. 2.5 years ago, we met again at a bar, hooked up, and I got pregnant. We agreed to keep the baby and co-parent. That's it. If you want him, go wild. Gracious, Christine huffs. I don't want to hear about my son's sex life. She pushes her trolley away in a dramatic flounce. We giggle at her retreat, and for the first time in a long while I feel a flicker of something light. Like maybe, just maybe, we'll be okay. Well, lest we tarry, Lola says in her faux fancy voice. I'm off to scavenge and seduce. She struts off. Lara watches her go. That was something, she says. I snort. Trust Jeremy to get his dick wet in the apocalypse. She's not wrong though, Lara adds. About what, Evan? He wants you. If you snooze, Cynthia's gonna leap at the chance to take your place. I groan. She's welcome to it. I don't care. Of course you do, Mrs. Wilde. I glare at her. Seriously. Well, everyone in Corrigan's crew thinks you're his wife. You two are always huddled together, speaking in low tones like you're plotting a grocery list. You orbit each other, and even without my third eye, I can tell you both want each other. I shrug, trying not to show how close that hits. Okay? She arches a brow. You don't want him? I don't answer. Because I do. I did the first moment I saw him, looking all disgustingly attractive and competent. But Lulu made sure I got the message. He's not mine to want. Cynthia and Evan had a thing in college, Lara continues. It was casual for him, not for her. She's been in love with him ever since. I stare at her. Wow, your third eye must be working overtime. She smirks. It's not the third eye, dummy. It's Freddie. He told me everything. I snort. What else did Freddie tell you? Lara lowers her voice. Well, you ever notice how David hates Evan? I nod. And she goes on, clearly relishing the gossip. When Evan was starting Protos, he offered shares to his friends first. Michelle, Freddie, and Cynthia each invested $100,000. David didn't. More like, he couldn't. By the time he scraped the money together, Evan had already sold the shares to someone else. Another friend of theirs. 2 years later, Protos takes off. Evan becomes a billionaire, and the other three are swimming in $500 million each. David lost his mind, almost sued Evan for selling the shares he offered him. David, unlike all his trust fund buddies, did not have a trust fund. His family is upper middle class, at best. He has been taking jabs at Evan for years, because he always comes second best to him. Evan on his part has been ignoring it. Eddie was actually surprised when he snapped back in our living room. Damn, I mutter, but I'm pretty sure David owns shares in Protos now. He does, but Evan only gave him a tenth of what he originally offered, as an apology. I shake my head. David still made a ton of money. So what's the beef? Jealousy still. Lara grins. Yes, and Cynthia. Cynthia? I screech. Yes? Cynthia's voice suddenly cuts in. She appears at the end of the aisle like she's been summoned. If you're also going to give me crap about picking only organic, non-artificial food, I've already had enough from Evan. She glides past us, looking frustratingly perfect, even while clearly exhausted. Then she pauses, pivots, and walks back toward us. Oh, and Evan said we should remove the outer packaging from everything. Makes more space. But don't take the labels off the cans. She shoots me a sharp look like I'm the kind of moron who'd stockpile 1,000 mystery tins of beans and dog food. Once she's out of earshot, I turn to Lara. What about Cynthia? Lara grins like a cat in cream. Well, Evan pulled a bit of a dick move. He knew David liked her, but Cynthia wasn't interested in David. She was into Evan. So Evan, being Evan, slept with her a few times. They never actually dated. I click my tongue. The drama is too juicy. I want to curl up in a sofa with Lara and gossip about everyone and everything. At the front of the store, I spot Emma, David's ex-wife, waving at me from the entrance. The kids are nowhere in sight, so I assume they're still on the bus. How's everything going? I ask, approaching her. She smiles. The kids are good. Just tired and cranky. Lindsay and I were thinking of giving them a quick shower. I was wondering if you want me to bathe Lila, or if you'd rather do it. Oh, I'll do it. Haven't spent much time with her today. Let me just get cleaned up first. Thanks for offering, though. Of course, she nods, her smile gentle before she heads off. David really doesn't know the gem he's got with that one. Phew. Okay, if you thought that was wild, trust me, we're just getting started. We're out of the city, but the escape might just be the easiest part. Something dangerous is waiting for us out on the road. We're officially on the move, with my family and a bunch of strangers crammed into a school bus, heading north to Alaska. Supplies are enough for now, the biters are everywhere, and I'm trying to figure out if my secretive boss, Evan Wilde, is going to save us or get us killed. Will we survive the journey to Alaska? What's the real reason Evan chose this route? And can I ever trust the man who might be our only hope? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss Part 2, where we have to survive our first night on the road. Trust me, the dead aren't the only monsters out here. See you next time.